Hey there, in this video you get to see a super cool urban farm, you get to see how they go about things, and hopefully you'll learn something from it. I'm so excited. What you see behind me is the fruiting room that we've just finished building, and it looks ace. It's probably the best room we've built so far, and we've built a few, right? We've built them in a prison, in the V&A Museum, we've built them right in the heart of a city centre close by, and that of course forms the backbone of all the stuff that we share with our community of growers. You see, we don't often say this, but GroCycle is a social enterprise, a bit like a B Corp in the US, and we are here to help other people to start growing mushrooms. And what a journey it's been so far. We often get to experience other people's journeys, and that's the topic of today's video. So in this video, you'll get to meet some young scientists and engineers who chose to be urban farmers. It's quite a journey, so I'm hoping that you'll learn lots from it. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the Yorkshire Mushroom Emporium. These guys came across low-tech mushroom farming, were really inspired, took it on, and scaled up really quickly from a small garage to a large industrial unit. Let's have a look.
I'm Jamie, 27 from Leeds.
Ed, I'm also 27.
And I'm now also 27 from Leeds.
Our farm and business is called Yorkshire Mushroom Emporium, and we are based in the east side of Leeds in a business centre called Curtis House.
Started in March, mid-March, didn't we, this year, after a sort of successful pilot period, just working in a double garage that our friend's mum kindly let us use. God bless us all, Bridget.
Yeah, it's only a mile from the city centre. There's lots of people kind of coming and going.
I think that proximity to Leeds as well gives you so many customers. So there's such a big food scene in Leeds.
We're selling mostly a mixture of oysters at the moment, pinks, greys, pearls, golds.
So there's a kind of quite a good mixture as well of the type of people that we sell to. We've started to supply a greengrocer fairly regularly, and they've actually got like 3 shops, all within about 4 or 5 miles of the city centre. Yeah, we sell them the kg or 2 kgs of fresh mushrooms. But then what we've also had quite a lot of sales from is chefs.
We were very keen when we were building it to try and design it ourselves, especially with the fruiting room. So we actually kind of went for a polytunnel design shape, and the reason we did that is for better kind of airflow and circulation.
So in terms of our production, our inoculations, we're still using the low-tech method. What we've done in the last kind of month or two is we've stopped pasteurising, and we've just gone to basically fully to pellets, to straw pellets. Not having to do the overnight pasteurisation did really simplify the process for us as well. We use sawdust spawn, which is what our local supplier sells.
COVID lockdown was probably what brought us all back to Leeds. Originally we were talking about, we kind of got together and we went on a walk around Christmas or something like that, and we were all kind of like, we want to do something wholesome, grow and sell some local produce. We were looking around allotments and a few of the urban farms in the area. I think we stumbled upon the GroCycle video on YouTube actually, which was probably the first inspiration.
We were renting in London when we grew our first mushrooms, weren't we? So we were in like Camberwell in South London. We grew our first mushrooms in like just a plastic box.
Yeah, and I was doing it at home with my mum as well. Like we were all boiling straw on,
on the hob,
Making an absolute mess of the kitchen.
Yeah. So there was the Merlin Sheldrake book. There was a couple of the YouTube videos, like Southwest mushrooms in America, and then that's when we started to look at how to grow mushrooms, and then we came across the GroCycle course.
It was very well structured, troubleshooting, problem solving, some of the things to watch out for, and then in a community behind it. The way we decided that was the first thing we could do that didn't require a lot of land, space, specialist equipment, not only land but green land. You can obviously, we're here in the city centre, a mile away from the train station. I think as well it's fair to say with the mushrooms, one of the factors in deciding that's what we wanted to do first, because we weren't going to have loads of space, they're a higher value crop, so you can start to generate a bit of business revenue with a much smaller area, as well as the kind of 3D aspect of the farming.
One of the things that I've enjoyed most about it is selling people kits and giving people the ability to like grow mushrooms at home. We get so many great comments from them. We get like lovely people come up to us at markets and say it's absolutely fantastic, and I think that's something I've really loved in it. There's 2 sort of months in sort of November, December where we sort of realised that the business did have some legs, because I think we made about 250 grow kits last year for Christmas, and I think after that we were just like, okay, started it in April, had a couple of markets, sold some mushrooms B2B to sort of local businesses in Oakley. I think one market we were short, didn't we? We just had like so little mushrooms that we were just like, okay, let's do grow kits as well, because we could just package up our fruiting blocks and put them in a box and try sell them, purely because we just didn't have any fresh mushrooms to sell. And they turned out to be particularly popular, so I think we thought, okay, let's start doing the grow kits more. And then because of where we were working, we couldn't heat our fruiting space, could we, during the winter, so it was a lot easier just to have sort of kits incubating for Christmas and then getting people to fruit them at home. We somehow sold 250 kits, built a Shopify website, and yeah, then I think we sort of realised that sort of Christmas, weren't we, that, you know, if we do want to give this a go, we've got some sort of cash in the bank from that sort of successful period, and, you know, we'd really
bit of momentum, momentum,
and out sort of grown the garage, so then it was time to sort of look for a new space.
Yeah, so in terms of funding, everything that we've done here, I think when we initially started at the garage setup, there was 5 of us who all put in £500 each. It didn't cost that to set up the farm, but that kind of allowed us to have some kind of like cash flow in the time that we were running the business at that stage. After Christmas last year, after the big grow kit success, we had a few thousand kind of in the business bank. 3 of us who were left all put in a couple of thousand each, and then we did also then apply for a business loan.
And I think we came in here and obviously knew that we had a lot of work to do to build a farm, underestimated it, but then wanted to continue with the momentum of selling mushrooms and selling grow kits. And I think in hindsight, we would have been more efficient and better to just go, right, let's put a pin in it for like 6 months, and then kind of come back when we were all organised and set up, I think.
Like you say, we'd already been kind of offline since Christmas, so it was already January, February, March, and then we were thinking, right, we've already been offline for kind of 3 months or so. We know there's the demand there. We were also starting to pay rent, which we'd never had to do before, and it was quite a sizable chunk.
We hadn't sold a fresh mushroom either since October, had we? So like it'd just been kits. So I think sort of the customers that we had built up, we sort of just felt a duty of care, could you say, to sort of, I don't know if that's the right word, but to try and sort of like supply them again.
Instead of using polythene sheeting, we were going to coat it with polycarbonate on the interior, a bit more insulated and a bit harder wearing. It was extremely difficult to build. We massively underestimated how long it was going to take us to do it. Estimate how long you need to build it and then times it by 10. It's that trade-off, isn't it? We could have bought, you know, a 3 by 6 metre hydroponic tent and it would have been up in 10 minutes, but we wouldn't have come out the other end of it with the knowledge that we have now. As you come in the front door, the room off to your left is our incubation room, and then in the main space, the walkway follows round to the left, round the main fruiting tent. When we were designing the process in this space, we were trying to look at efficiencies of labour. We have reusable plastic buckets that we inoculate with substrate for fruiting to reduce our kind of reliance on single-use plastics. We obviously purchase spawn off our spawn supplier, as people are familiar with, and then inoculate with a food substrate. They go on the racks and they get wheeled into the incubation room. The full rack with 25 buckets on gets wheeled out of the incubation room into the fruiting room, where it can then, we fruit a whole rack at once. And so as we scale up, it's not going to be a case of adding a few more buckets, it's going to be a case of adding a few more racks. We usually do 2 fruits, we don't go for a third. Once that full rack's done, we can then wheel that out and that goes outside, and we kind of recycle the mushroom substrate at Kirkstall Valley Farm, which we talked about earlier, and also our own compost heap, and we also have a few people that in the local area that come and collect it. It's been a real learning curve. I think that's, as well as just starting any small business, probably not just a mushroom farm. you find that you need to learn a lot of things in a lot of different areas very quickly. And when it's just you and your mates running it, you find that you're a farmer, you're an accountant, you're a salesperson, you know, you have to be all these different roles all at once sometimes. But there's lots of good stuff out there to help you out, you know. I think once we got some accounting software, that's completely changed the game, you know, and it just made it so much easier to kind of forget about that side of the business to some extent and just kind of focus on growing. But we're all very much like, you know, keen and driven and just happy to pitch in, and you know, we've shown that to ourselves and each other over the late nights that we've had here and the long weekends where we've just, you know, we've stuck at it and stayed in until the job's done, basically. But it would be nice to have a couple of weekends back as well, every now and again.
When you're all working full time as well, trying to like balance sort of building a farm, running a farm, and sort of working full time, I think it's been a really busy year, hasn't it, for all of us?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The experience with GroCycle and the course has absolutely helped us massively. From the very beginning of not knowing anything about mushroom production and to go into, you know, I think the course is literally called How to Set Up a Small Scale Mushroom Farm, and that is what we did in the garage. The community, about just the materials, the course materials, and for the cost of the course was just absolutely staggering, really. And you still kind of go back to it and look at little bits from it, and I know there's always new videos and new material coming out. And that's an amazing thing about it as well, that when you sign up for the course, you sign up to almost like a lifetime membership of new material coming out, and then also the community as well. A really great kind of hive mind for getting help with problems, and people that's across the board, whether it's the kind of on the production side or more on the business side. Doing the course is, probably inspired us to do our own little bits of teaching as well. I'd love to do something with like young people, for example, and teach them mushroom growing, because I think it's just something that whole swathes of people could get on board with and really enjoy.
I'm a bit of a cynic when I see stuff like online, like online course and stuff. I'm a bit like, especially with the power of YouTube nowadays, it's like, why would I pay for something when I can just look around YouTube? But I think probably that course was the best £300 we've spent in this business, really, because it probably is, really, because I mean, it's just accelerated that first stage of setting up the farm. You know, in the earlier stages we were using it extensively. We have gone back to it when we're looking for some inspiration or some problem solving, so yeah, would recommend it. When we kind of started this, we didn't really know how it was going to happen. It was just kind of a bit of a hobby, and I'm really satisfied and pleased and enjoyed this process of it turning into what it is now and kind of hopefully going somewhere in the future. So I think it's just to say, if anybody's whatever you're like interested in doing, or starting a small little business, I think go for it. Find a way to just have a go at trialing it and at low cost and low risk, and go from there, I'd say.
Wow, what a great story. I'm sure you were inspired by that too. There's always so much to learn from just watching other people's journeys and their experiences. What I really like about these guys is, well, there's a bunch of things really. I love their low-tech approach. I love the way that they've been really resourceful and used materials that they have, but also just to try new things as well. I really like that fruiting room design that they came up with. I also like the way they work together as a team to pull this off, you know, all chipping in, and the way that they started small, you know, the fact they just got started in the first place is great as well. You know, they just had the idea and they decided to have a go. But they started small. They didn't go in at a huge level. They started in a garage, found their feet, and only then did they scale up. And I really think that there's a lot to be learned from that. That's what I always advise people to do. I also really like the fact that they've shared this whole journey with all of you as well. There's so much to be learned really from just sharing knowledge and experience, and you see that time and time again in the mushroom growing community. It's a really generous community of people. And that's really a big part of what we're about here at GroCycle as well. We love teaching and getting more people involved. If you'd like to learn with us in a little bit more detail, we have got a free workshop and ebook for you. If you head to growcycle.com/workshop, you go over there and download a free ebook and watch the workshop video. And we're going to be covering a lot more stuff here on the channel in the months ahead. We've got a load of new varieties here. We've got lion's mane, king oyster, shiitake. We've got turkey tail that's starting to just begin fruiting at the moment. We're going to have reishi, maitake, a load of new varieties coming through. So keep an eye out on the channel here. Do subscribe to follow us along in that journey. And if you're an online course member, keep an eye out in the months ahead. We're going to be going into a lot of detail, publishing new lessons about all these new varieties. If you're not already in our course community, by the way, come and join us. GroCycle.com/go. Come and join. It's a thriving community of more than 2,000 people now all over the world, small-scale mushroom farmers. That's it for today. Thanks a lot for joining us in this video, and we'll see you in the next one.